So today I'm going to talk to you about some top tips that you can really easily implement into your day-to-day life that will help you prioritize your health. There are some really simple things you can do to get started, and these are things that I did myself throughout my journey of prioritising my own health and losing over 100 pounds of my body weight.
My name's Rhiannon and I'm the active autist. I've lost over 100 pounds by prioritising my health.
My first top tip or easy win that you can do is increase your steps. I'm not saying that you need to have a big goal in mind. I'm going to propose that if you have a way of tracking your steps, see how many you average per day. If you're averaging 5,000, great. See if you can push that to 6. If you're averaging 2,000, that's great. See if you can push that average up to 3,000. This can be done in small increments through the day. It doesn't need to be a big walk. It might simply be walking around the house whilst the kettle's boiling. It could be parking in a space further away from the office or further away from the door of the shop. These little things, they won't add much extra time on. And in fact, if you're walking around while the kettle's boiling, you're not adding any extra time at all, but they will help to increase your steps a little bit. Just get into the habit of finding opportunities where you can walk a bit more and do your steps. It doesn't need to be challenging. It doesn't need to be uphill. It doesn't need to be 30 minutes on level 4 or level 10 of a treadmill. It can literally just be things that you incorporate in your normal day-to-day life. Another top tip is it's really important to identify is your energy peak. Think about, are you a morning person or are you an evening person? I know I'm an evening person and I've tried to be a morning person, tried it quite recently. The gym in the morning because it's quieter, but in order to have a quiet gym in the morning you have to go at about 5 o'clock in the morning. I've tried it a couple of times. I'm not cut out for that life. I'm a 9 o'clock at night person, so that would be my energy peak. Now I've identified that, I can schedule my workouts to coincide with my energy peak, which basically means that I am able to get the most out of my workout. It's then not a waste of time or wasted opportunity. So once you've identified your energy peak, what you could schedule in a small thing. So this could be 10-15 minutes, it doesn't need to be big, and it could be 10 to 15 minutes of stretching, for instance. It could be some yoga poses, it could be some mobility movements to open up your hip flexors. It might be that actually you want to do something that is more strenuous and uses some more energy, so you could go for a walk. If you wanted to be really brave and proactive, you could go for a jog. There's plenty of things that you could do 10 to 15 minutes just once a day that would drastically improve your health. If you're not in the right mindset to make that something physical, what you could do is something more mindful. I'm a big believer that when you prioritize your health, it's not just your physical health, but it's your mental health as well. And so even if you don't feel you could commit 10 to 15 minutes a day to something to do with moving your body, how about you commit 10 to 15 minutes a day to journaling or just getting some fresh air, sitting in silence, sitting in your thoughts, just something that is different to you every day that is for you. And whether it is going for a jog or whether it is sitting on your own for 10 to 15 minutes, I think you'll see an improvement in your overall health. Are there any easy swaps that you could do? So let's say you have a coffee every morning. I personally have 2. I have to have 2 before I can get going. And I'm very routine. But let's say you have 2 spoons of sugar, reduce that to 1. It might not taste the same to begin with, but you'll get used to it. And think of all the calories that you are then not having by not having that sugar. And it's little changes like that, little healthy swap, that can make a big difference overall. And I think that for me, my goal, losing weight was great, but my goal actually was to be healthier. A way of doing that was just making healthier choices. So you could consider that. If you like gin and tonic on a Friday night and you currently have just normal tonic water, could you try sugar-free? Same with Coke, if you like a vodka and Coke or JD and Coke. If you have full fat, could you think about swapping that to a sugar-free? And there are some things that will be non-negotiables for you. I know people that really don't want to be drinking aspartame and sugar-free drinks, and they are not good for your health anyway. But if your goal is to lose weight, if your goal is to lose weight, fundamentally it's about being in a calorie deficit, and so swapping out full fat, full sugar things for low sugar or reduced sugar is going to make a difference to your overall calorie consumption. Another thing you could do is just increase the amount of vegetables you're eating. And I don't mean necessarily swap, because I think that right now I'm talking about little changes, easy changes. And vegetables provide a lot of nutrients that our body needs. And so rather than swapping, say, your carbs for your vegetables, what you could do is increase your vegetable intake. And what that would mean is that you're actually getting more nutrient. You're still eating just as much, actually you're eating a bit more, but what you're eating more of is good stuff and is going to help to fill you up. Sometimes having an accountability partner can make a real difference as well. So this might be a friend or a family member who is aware that you're wanting to make these little changes and start to become a bit healthier. And regardless of whether they want to do it or not, because everyone's on their own journey, what you could do is ask them if they would mind being your accountability partner. You could just check in with them daily and say, I did this many steps, or today I did 10 minutes journaling. Whatever it is that you are doing, sharing that is really important. It's really important to share your small wins as well, no matter how small they are. So if you do over a week, average more steps every day, that's a win. If 3 times a week you do swap your 2 sugar tea for a 1 sugar tea, that's a win. And tell someone about it. Sharing is really important, and it can also help to inspire others and keep you motivated, because there's nothing quite like somebody saying you're doing really well, you're doing a really good job. So I definitely think that you should look for some form of community or support, or just a way in which you are able to celebrate those small wins with somebody that's rooting for you to succeed. And there are loads of online communities, loads of gym groups on Facebook, and they're great. You can share your struggles or share your wins, and you've got a whole troop of people there who will support you and give you advice and be there. And I'm sure some of these groups are better than others, and I can't recommend any by name, but they are out there. You will find them. Another top tip: you do not need to make radical changes. If you're not doing any exercise every week, you do not need to go and join a gym and start going every day, going swimming in the evening and running in the morning. If you want to, great, do it, please. Like, if that's what you feel that you can and you want to do, great. But for me, and I think for a lot of people, joining a gym or a big change of routine is quite daunting. Just start small. It's not a race. There's no one you're competing against, and you don't need to change so much in your life that it's overwhelming and you can't stick at it. Much easier to make these small little steps, and then actually you can change more and more and more, and these things become habits and easier to stick to, than if you just went all in, absolutely shattered yourself in the first week, body's aching, mentally you're drained, and then you say, no, that life is not for me. Well, actually it is for you, it's just that you've gone in too hard. So it just has to be about making sure your approach to changing your life is more in line with what you need. And if you're anything like me, small steps. These small steps add up to become much bigger things with a much bigger difference to your life. A really good way to start a journey of prioritizing your health would be to look at what you're currently doing. I know that a lot of people think that they're eating good amounts of protein, for instance, but when you write it down and you track it, you realize you're not eating hardly any protein, if you're like me. So I eat a mostly vegan diet, and hitting protein goals is really hard. And it was only once I started looking at how much protein I had in a day, just on average with my diet, I realised I really wasn't getting much at all. And protein is vital for muscle growth and recovery. So if you're going to be exercising and working out, in particular, you need to hit protein goals. There is really good apps and websites out there that you can have a look at and get some macros. I personally use NutriCheck, which is an app on the App Store for iPhones. I think you can get it on Android as well. Really good. It's affordable. It's like £30 for a year, I think. But it's got access to all these recipes. It's got a really good database of food, and it's got some forums. So if you're struggling to find a community, you've got a community right there. I'd highly recommend having a look at it. It's a great way to get started. Another top tip could be to make sure you're getting enough sleep. Sounds silly, but sleep is really important for your body and for your mind, for your brain, and your overall health. So if you don't make any other changes but this one, great. That's fine. But try and make sure you're getting a good amount of sleep for your body. Some people don't need a solid 9 hours. Some people are best on 7. I'm an 8-hour person, but I think it's important to make sure you are feeling re-energized when you wake up in the morning, ready for the day ahead. That will help you make better choices throughout your day. If you have a way of tracking your steps, so I like an Apple Watch, then wear it. Wear it, because it's so much better than guesstimating how many steps you do, and it's a really good way to track things like that. I use mine for my workouts every day, and I love seeing it because it monitors my heart rate. You don't even need one that fancy. Just something that records your step. I had a pedometer once, that was pretty good just for recording step, but it's really important to know where you are so you can benchmark and you can see your improvements, and then you can celebrate your wins.
Please like, share and subscribe if you found my top tips video useful. Also join my new Discord group for neurodivergent fitness